today, only the Philippines is celebrating the Feast of the Santo Niño. It is a special permission that the Vatican, that the Church has given to us as a people. It is something really special. It is not something that is ordinary. Na pinapayagan tayo to have our own celebration on a Sunday of this Feast of the Santo Niño. Now, this Feast of the Santo Niño of this year is special. This Feast of the Santo Niño 2021 is 500 years since the Santo Niño came to our shores in 1521. I guess, I don't know about the millennials now, pero the vast majority of us older ones, 1521 is something we memorized since we were children. March 21, 1521, I mean, talagang that was drummed into us when Magellan first came into our country. When the Christian faith took root in our shores, that was exactly 500 years ago. That's why this Feast of the Santo Niño, because the Santo Niño was brought here during that time, this feast today is very, very special to us. Unknown perhaps to many of us, there are many things happening this year in spite of the pandemic. We are celebrating the gift of faith. We are not celebrating, some people say that we should not celebrate this time because it is a recollection of our oppression. It's a recollection of the conquest of our people. Excuse me. I mean, napakadami mo namang hang-ups. Excuse me. It's not celebrating. We're celebrating our faith. You know, my elder brother, he doesn't speak very much, but he made this pronouncement. What can be more terrible than Filipinos killing Filipinos? If you do not feel anything painfully wrong about that, if you don't feel anything parang doesn't touch you about that, maybe you're not a Filipino. The theme of these 500 years of Christianization is gifted to give. Gifted in order to give. We have been gifted with this faith. Excuse me. You know, unlike many other, I was teaching church history. Unlike other countries, ang sisikat ng mga missionaries na nagpunta sa kanila. Can you imagine? No less than Francis Xavier goes to India, goes to Japan. Matteo Ricci and the best of the Jesuits were sent to China. The best. Christianity did not take root. They are not Christian countries. The missionaries that we have here in our country, we don't even know them. We don't know them. Well, we have two that have become saints, Saint Pedro Bautista, Franciscan, and Saint Ezekiel Moreno, who is an Augustinian, but they died, they passed by the Philippines and they died as martyrs abroad. So they became saints in another country. Another thing to note here is, unlike the Spanish revolutions in South America, the Philippine Revolution was not against really the government. Our patriots were not against the government really. They were Masons because they were against the church. They were against the friars. Because the only Spaniards that were outside Manila were friars. And the later friars especially were kind of abusive. We became a penal colony of the undesirables from the mainland. Okay. The revolt was against the friars. The abuses were always about the friars' abuses. And in spite of the fact that was an Aglipayan, a national church was established that cut itself from Rome, our people reverted to Catholicism. Our people remained Catholics. And when the Americans came, we assimilated everything of the Hollywood culture, English, American ways. They brought Protestant ministers. We remained Catholic in the majority. This giftedness of our faith is, my personal opinion, it's not from men. It's not by circumstances, but willed by God. That we are Catholics as a nation is willed by God, from the very beginning of time. God doesn't think like this. Ano ba gagawin ko ngayong umaga? Ito. Ano gagawin ko next week? No. God has a master plan from the beginning of time. And from the beginning of time, these islands were chosen to be gifted with the faith. You did not choose me. I chose you, Filipinos. Our Christian faith is not willed by men. It's willed by God from the very beginning. So many times the Spanish crown wanted to abandon the Philippines. Bakit? We only had coconuts and bananas. That was all there was here. We were not like other Asian countries that had spices and silk and tea, and we didn't have that. And so many times they just want to, it's a most unprofitable colony. It was only 300 years, 400 years after that, we had sugar and we had coffee and okay, we mattered more. Before that, before the 300 years, it was nothing. But they stayed, and the chronicles will tell us they stayed. Every time they were questioning, they stayed to keep the faith in these islands. Our people were chosen. Maniwala po kayo. We are handpicked among the nations. And the Filipinos continue to do this everywhere they go. They bring the faith. When you think of Philippines, you think Philippines, Pilipinas. When you think of Philippines, what first enters your mind? Be honest. Pilipinas, Philippines. What first enters your mind? Let's ask Manolo. What first enters your mind? Unmute yourself. First, one word, two words. Pilipinas.
Daw.
Manny Pacquiao.
Pacquiao. All right. I remember I was so nervous at the immigration in the United States kung papapasukin ako o hindi. Nung nakita niya Filipino passport, Pacquiao! Immediately inside. What enters your mind when you think about Philippines? Philippines. Let's see. Liza Yao. Unmute yourself. Philippines. Liza. You think about your answer. Philip Paez. What enters your mind? My brother Philip Paez is in New York. What enters your mind when you say Philippines? First thing.
Puto bongbong.
Puto bongbong. What enters your mind? What enters your mind when you say Philippines? Can I ask?
Okay na si Liza.
Liza, yes. What enters your mind? Liza is not in the Philippines now.
Warmth. The Filipinos are very warm.
Filipinos are very warm. You know, until you leave the Philippines, you will think that everybody is like that. No, they're not. When you start going to other countries, you realize, hindi pala sila ganun. One thing is, you will know you're not in the Philippines, people do not do this. Where is the department store? They don't do this. Ay, wala na pala ako sa Pilipinas. The greatest treasure we have is our faith. Imagine there are lawmakers in our government who want to change the names of towns, the names of streets, from the names of saints. I don't know what they want to name them. Dilag or Dalag or whatever it is. They want to pass a law to remove public images of crosses and crucifixes. This faith is so embedded in the Filipino. Other countries advance in technology, advance in production. Yes, other countries are better governed than us. Other countries have more gifted leaders than us. Other countries have less internal conflicts than ours. Other countries, are more prosperous than ours. Because our treasure is not in these things. Ako tanggap ko na yun. Our treasure is in our faith. And what is faith? Faith is trust in God through His Blessed Mother. There are many questions about the vaccine. So many people have asked me, Father, magpapavaccine ba kayo? Magpapavaccine ba kayo? So many conspiracy theories. There are many falsehoods that are forced down our throat that are supposed to be truths. Falsehoods. Parang they treat us like tanga ba kami? Pero dito tayo naiiba. Our faith. Chosen by God from all eternity. And nothing could change that. You know, other countries like China, they have 10,000 martyrs. 10,000. Japan, they have 7,000 martyrs. Vietnam, 700 martyrs. Alam mo, we have foreigners in our place here and ang pinagmamalaki natin is 2 martyrs that were kind of reluctant pa. You know why? Bakit dalawa lang ang martyrs natin? Because the whole Filipino people are destined to become saints. Not just 10,000 martyrs. Whole Filipino people are destined for holiness. Yan ang, there was this song, Handog ng Pilipino sa mundo. Faith. Faith. In every household abroad where there is a Filipino, they're learning how to pray the rosary. Yes, we are gifted. Niregaluhan, biniyayaan, chosen, not by man's choosing it, not by circumstances, God's choice. And this faith is expressed in our trust. Our trust. You see, one of the stories I compare the Philippines to is David and Goliath. Goliath, giant. Everybody was so afraid of this giant. And he said, winner take all. Patayin niyo ako, sa inyo na lahat ng ito. Yun ang usapan. And no Israelite would like to try until a 12-year-old boy comes. And he said, these are the words of this 12-year-old boy named David. Alam mo, you come to me with sword and shield. Daming daladalang weapons. May Armalite ka. May tangki ka. You insulted my God. Sabi niya, I come to you in the name of the Lord. Yun lang ang akin. This giant, tumba. Hindi man isang bala ka lang eh. Isang bato ka lang. This giant tumba. Come to you. Not with sword. Come to you in the name of the Lord. There was this American, the visitor, my classmate from Fordham University came, and I brought him around. He wanted to see not the spotty places in the Philippines, but the ordinary places. And his remark to me was, I see this little boy in every store I go, this little boy. I was wondering, what little boy? This little thing like this there. Oh, it's the Santo Niño. I see it everywhere. I see it in the jeepney. I see it everywhere. I see it. Yeah, I said, even in every home. Mm-mm. We are so fond of this Santo Niño because we can identify so much with this Santo Niño. There's a similarity with the attitude of a child that is inside every Filipino. We are completely dependent on a power greater than ours. That's why we relate with children. These children, they disarm us. And we relate with this child Jesus who depends completely on God. The child Jesus. Maybe that is why God has chosen us. Maybe. Because we naturally trust. Kaya naman we're very friendly to foreigners. We are not exactly xenophobic. We're not afraid of foreigners. We welcome them. Because we naturally trust. Because there was a time that some Salesians, they wanted to gather together for a meeting. And I said, I'd like to say my piece. Number one, two things. I said, number one, the virus has become more vicious. Number two, there is a vaccine present. Nakakatawa naman na kung kailan so close, dito pa tayo lahat mamatay. Cannot put our guard down. We cannot transfer our trust elsewhere at this point in time. So that anything that comes, whatever it is that comes to our nation, ang sagot natin is the responsorial psalm. Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will. Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will. And you know what happened when Samuel said that? Here I am, Lord, I come to do your will. God revealed his power to him. Ito ang sagot natin, mga Pilipino. Tayong mga Pilipino. Ito ang sagot natin sa lahat ng mangyayari sa atin dito. Sa lahat ng mga minsan nakakainis na mga balitang naririnig natin. I mean to say, how can at this difficult moment people take advantage of our people? Ang sagot natin, rather than get mad, rather than get inis, here we are, Lord, as a people. We come to do your will. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, Espiritu Santo. Amen. Let us pause for a while and allow God to talk to us.